Boom.
All right. I
I
like
think
that picture in the background that you've got.
that the my very problematic Clockwork Orange poster, which I
Yeah,
understand that movie and Mr. Kubrick himself has some issues, but also it's like five colors, and look how 70s it is, and look how much I love
totally.
it. Usually next to it is modern times because I like it's a duality of man thing.
Uh-huh.
They're usually back there, but my wife moved them, and I don't. When my wife moves things, I don't argue about
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean?
It fits right in. It fits right
Yeah,
in.
yeah. So it's that one, and then next to it, it's Modern Times by Charlie Chaplin, and two
Awesome.
films that are kind of saying the opposite about people, and both of them have bowler hats in it.
Yes, that's what I was gonna
So
say. Like
that's all I
it's a
really
great
need.
pairing.
Yeah, it's all. I think that would be a hell of a double feature.
Oh
Um,
yeah, totally.
yeah, totally, totally. it's been a week, so it's good to get start talking to you again and
It
get
is,
back.
yeah.
And you know what I think I wrote. We took a week off,
We did.
so I think it's time to make a new rule. And Andrew, you said you had a new rule for me.
Well, I was thinking that the new rule could be we have a new logo.
I think that
Uh,
is a fine new rule, and I agree
so
with it. It's also something we've been talking about doing anyway. Uh,
exactly.
I'm not gonna
Well,
I'm not gonna say that live, but I think it falls nicely that we have a logo that we're lined up. It's been on
uh,
some shirts, and so we got a new logo coming out. That's gonna
exactly.
be good. That will probably be on not this one, but the next one.
Well, depending on when you get it to me, I might have had it at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah,
But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So
we'll see. Yeah, no, I think it has to be on the next one because the rule
okay.
is
Oh,
if it
okay. So for
doesn't,
the next
yeah.
one. Okay. All right. So all right.
But we
So
have
our listeners saw the old logo at the beginning of this
yeah,
episode,
they're
and
gonna
but
see the
next
old
time,
logo. It's
yeah, next time
weird.
we're gonna have a new logo.
It's weird to talk about the future and the past and the future past. You
It
know?
is, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So speaking of the past and the future, hi Andrew.
Hello, Brandon.
Start that timer.
Boop. Oh man, there we go. All right.
I
I
love that
don't
you
know
went over high tech with low tech. Uh,
if
so we just released a new album, a new art piece, a new
we
piece.
did.
Um,
Yeah. So even though we took a week off from the podcast, we did release the hold music, illegal scam hold music,
yeah, one of the
and
few pieces that we named it in the beginning, and it kept the name all the way to the end.
it did, yeah. And I think both of us were pretty adamant about keeping the name because I know there were some other times we were referring to it in different ways, and sometimes the other people we had involved like were referring to it in different ways. But I think we were pretty adamant about keeping the name because I don't know, I just like the name.
I like the name a lot. It
Mhm.
is something that we might do again in a different way because I really like illegal scam hold music, and I'm not complaining in any way. But
Mhm.
where it started was such a different idea than where it ended. I think we can go back to that mine and pull a different idea out
Oh
completely.
yeah, definitely. But on that note, I think that what's different about this one is that, and the reason it became such a different project is because we had so many more people involved, and honestly, to that end, I really think it's truly a collaborative effort, honestly, uh, from so many different people because it wasn't just one person's idea, which I think is the case in a lot of things. Outside of what I'm not talking about what we do because I think that what we do, it's very clearly a
It's a collaborative thing,
collaborative idea. Yeah,
but it's
but
also the thing about Yonko is it's three people. Two of them are half. Like
right.
at this point, Teddy Hansen does one of the drawings for us, and
Mhm.
then we have the lady who wrote our script also is who did our poems is the person who wrote our script this time,
Exactly.
which
Yeah, Lisa.
was hard to let go. That was a hard moment for me to go, well, this was my idea, and then someone else bring a script back, and I like the script, and it's fine, but it wasn't mine. You know,
Yeah. Mhm.
it was very difficult for me to like let go of the reins on that.
Mhm.
Also, it just got big. Like this
Mhm.
illegal scam hold music is big in comparison to everything else we've ever done.
It is. Yeah, uh, and I think probably compared to like what you and I have done, um, as Yonko, but not compared to like what we've done outside of Yonko. I mean,
Well, it's big for Yonko.
it's big for Yonko. Yeah.
it's the biggest amount of people that have ever that like, and not just like we called in somebody to do a thing. Like there were like Marshall Beguer, who was our there was a director, and neither of
Mhm.
us were the director. Um, like there were people like my voice and your voice aren't on this in any way, shape, or form, which I think is interesting.
Mhm.
Um, I like that about it, but it is a. I mean, this, and I'm not saying this as an insult. It was interesting because this is the most produced by Yonko LLC thing
Mhm.
that we have ever made. It is, you know, the most voices are in this one than anything else we have ever done.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, and I think we also I want to bring this up. We agreed that we need to bring the people on who did it to talk about doing it. Uh,
Yeah, and we'll be doing that, I think, in the next few weeks. So we can talk. That was weird.
we just had a moment of just reflecting on another piece done.
Right,
And,
exactly.
it is weird that we now have 4 pieces out that are finished.
Yeah, and it is like kind of cool. It's actually interesting. I mean, I think that's one thing about like what what you and I are doing is that we're producing at such kind of a fast rate compared to. I mean, this particular project we're talking about did take a long time, but I think if we put it in context, I mean, the fact that we've really been working together really just over a year.
Mm.
And it's kind of satisfying, to have that sort of high paced production.
They will know us by our trail of the art. Yeah, no, it
Yeah.
is. It is certainly do. And that was one of the things that was tough about this one is this was our longest. I think this was our longest outside of Zodiac to get done, and we
Mm.
didn't see a lot of the pieces for a long time.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and I think part of the reason like so many people got involved is because it kind of got to a point where I knew that it wasn't going to happen if there was just sort of like a block, like where, there was only so much that you and I could do. I
yes,
felt, yeah, and to really see it through to the finish line, I think it really had to have, some more people. But by that nature, that also, meant that we had to deal with more schedules, had to deal with more things like that, which is that's all part of the artistic process, which you and I have like experienced in a lot of different ways and a lot of different things, before. So it's not unexpected. It's just part of the process with that, I think.
any art project I'm working on, I'm always waiting for it to fall apart. That's just how I am. Like I'm not. It's
Yeah.
it's a little overly negative, but that's how I am. And I will say that when you were like, "Yeah, I think I'm going to direct all the people there too," I was like, "This has never been done." I honestly like I'm not. I hope that isn't too hurtful or anything, but I had the thought of like, "Yeah, we're not. This is like
Yeah.
this is too much. We're taking too much on." And then when we
Yeah.
brought in Marshall, who we talked to before, I was like, "Okay, let's see what this looks like now." And
Mhm.
then we brought Marshall in and we got it back. And I feel
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah.
as big as it got, being able to delegate to another person, not only like, hey, say these lines, do this little piece of art, but the ability to go, this thing is yours. You
Mhm.
have a good time, and we'll say yay or nay, and we're probably going to say yay. But I mean,
Yeah.
I do feel like on this one, until I said the idea, said yes to a bunch of stuff, and did the art at the end. That was my
Mhm.
process for doing this. I heard the whole thing and just made a whole bunch of art, and we talked about ideas going into
Yeah.
it, and I really tried to follow those ideas and how they broke down. Um, but I feel like on this one, I became more of a producer and more of a person who went this, not that, than
Yeah.
someone doing the artisan work of it. Until we did
Yeah.
the physical art of it,
And
which that was still mine. I feel great about it. Thank you very much.
yeah. Well, and I really think like that, I don't think that should be minimized at all because, that was still part of what was in my mindset. It was like thinking, okay, we've got the music and then that contrast, because for me it was always like the contrast of like that music going with the art, because the music is inherently sort of happy and upbeat and inspirational, but that contrast of having sort of the darker side. And then what the script and the dialogue was sort of in between, and so it
Mhm.
was sort of like that meld. And I think what you were mentioning before, like uh you know, getting Marshall in, especially like that allowed me to give. It's almost like, um, by letting him sort of handle that part of it, like in getting to actors and sort of organizing that aspect of it, it allowed me to refocus on the back end, of it.
Yeah, totally.
Because yeah, because like with him being able to, organize all that stuff, then once I had all those materials, then I was able to be more on like the production side of it, where I could like, put things in order and like, arrange all the music and everything like that. And it was like kind of like with Zodiac, I feel responsible to get back to you, a couple
Mhm.
times a week, right? And
Yeah.
so like we've got a pattern, where we're sort of like going back and forth a couple times a week. And so it gave me another person to sort of be responsible to, and 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 it just like made it sort of uh a little bit more uh I don't know the word I don't know what I'm looking for, but it just felt like I had to answer to somebody in a
It,
good way,
yeah,
and this the
absolutely.
same good way that I answer to you. It's like, and that we answer to each other. It's that good kind of answering to each other.
It keeps the train. It kept the train. Putting Marshall A, we made a really good call because I think one of the things we talk about a lot here is like, um, some days you're going to be real inspired to work,
Mhm.
and some days you're not going to be inspired to work. And the days you're not inspired to work are the days that are going to define you more than the days you feel inspired.
Yeah,
There was a time, and I don't know if that was always true. There was a time when you could be a genius some of the time, but that doesn't feel like it's true anymore. And you got to get to the gym even when you don't want to get to the gym.
yeah,
So
yeah,
like, it's one of those things. Like one of the ways you do that, and I've been dealing with it too, is you have to go. This person is counting on me in some way or another, and
exactly.
it has to. And what's interesting is it has to be real. You know what I mean? Like it
Mhm.
can't be like, well, for me, it has to like the stakes have to there has to be a real. The stakes have to be real, or I can't pretend that they're not. And
Yeah,
also, I think one of the things that was really helpful that we keep bringing this up, and let us sing his praises while he is not here and cannot hear it. One of the things that Marshall, absolutely an artist, does work. I'm not taking this away from him when I say this. He took. I don't know what he thought about the project. I don't know what he thinks about the project now. I think he probably likes it. I think that's great. But what is more important is he said, "Yes, I'll do it," and then came back to us with it done. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like that was such an important part of it was having someone that we could trust that we would
yeah,
send it away and it would, our release date was Halloween
yeah,
and we
yeah. I,
released,
I wanted to mention that as well. Yes.
yeah, release date was Halloween and we released it on Black Friday.
Mhm.
And I think it's also one of those things you make dates like that internally so that you go, okay, we're past it now. Now we really need to get that work in. Like
Yeah,
you need to, even if you don't make that deadline, you need to make that deadline so you're not just, okay, I'm gonna get crazy for a second, okay? Um, in the military, a lot of times one of the hardest things they make people do is they make people run
mhm,
for an undisclosed amount of time, for an undisclosed
mhm,
distance. They don't go, we're running 5 miles or we're running 30 minutes. They go, run until we tell you to stop.
mhm,
And that just breaks people
mhm,
because they don't know how hard to push. They
mhm,
don't know, there is no goal anymore. It is
mhm,
just about running. And
mhm,
in one way, you can look at this and you can go, okay, I need to find ways to learn to love to run, right? Or
mhm.
whatever that is. The other way is you need to give yourself goals that you just continually, little steps, little goals. One of the things
Mhm.
that I think is successful about Zodiac that made Yonko so difficult is the fact that, no, excuse me, Zodiac that made hold music so difficult. It's all Yonko. Jesus, our own mythology. I need to have a thing on
Right,
everything
exactly.
mythology of what everything is. But Zodiac is a bunch of little steps that at the end we put together and is one big thing.
Mhm,
Uh, what hold music was, it is the most complete thing we've ever. Even sampler is a bunch of slightly bigger steps. Hold music was one gigantic piece that we all put together. And one of
yeah,
the things to make it smaller was we had to delegate to other people for help.
yeah.
And I think in that delegation, we were able to get it done. This was, I will say, I'm really happy with hold music. It was in a lot of ways one of the most frustrating ones we've ever done for me.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I think just because well, I'm actually interested to hear like why it was frustrating for you, but for me, I think frustrating. It was frustrating because like I hit that wall,
Hmm.
and it was like, okay, I know there's like when I got to that point, it was like I knew what I had to do, I knew what had to be done, but I also knew that I was at a point where I couldn't really do it.
It was
Um,
exactly that.
yeah,
I knew we had stuff to do, and I knew it had to be done, and like I didn't know, but so much of it was out of my wheelhouse,
yeah,
and like
exactly.
far, not like out of my wheelhouse, like, oh, we're gonna try something new. It was like, I don't know how to do this in any way, shape, or form, and like I
Mhm,
I don't feel engaged to do it. Does that make
mhm.
sense? Like I want
Yeah,
it done, darn it, but I don't know how to do this. I don't. So it became a real struggle to like. I see what needs to be done. I am not the one who wants to do it though. And in our partnership, neither of us were the delegated person to do this, you know?
right, exactly.
Um,
And I think like to that point with Marshall, like you were mentioning, like which is absolutely like why I think we wanted to work with him is because we can trust him, and he's also like he's got that sort of mindset not only of a of a director, but also like he's worked in abstract theater before and worked with the kind of like voice I think that we were trying to give to this, and but more than even just going beyond him, it was like trust. It was really trust all the way down the line, so like trust with Lisa, when
yeah.
she wrote the script, and she wrote it. She gave a deadline. It was her deadline really. And
Yeah.
then like when we got to that deadline, she gave me a script. And then it was like so like she's another person we can count on. And then even like the actors that Marshall contacted, it's like okay, we can count on all of them. They all showed up. They all did their lines. And they were all like into the project and excited about it. So it's like it's trust all the way down the line, I think.
And it was this is what was it was hard for me, and I'm just speaking for me. We're gonna go a little bit longer. Uh,
Mm.
for me, because both of us, as well, I'm gonna say producers of this piece
Yeah.
outside of us, we had to say yes and no to stuff, and
Mhm.
that was terrifying in a way that others that it has that and nothing else Yonko has ever done has been.
Exactly.
God, it's
Yeah,
blinking.
because like when we're working on Zodiac, it's like there's
Zodiac,
sort of a
Zodiac is
trust
only
between us.
yes.
Exactly. It's always yes,
Yeah.
and it's like and I think, I think we were talking about sort of before before we started recording. Like when we look back like on some of the previous pieces and individual movements and stuff like that, there's some stuff that we're unhappy with, right?
Yeah.
But in the moment, like, but it's almost like the way we set it up is that it's a game, so it's like okay, you make a move and you can't change it,
Yeah.
so
Zodiac
so it's just yes,
is
yes,
yeah.
yes.
We're so excited about this. We're so
Yeah,
excited we figured out why it was so tough. I honestly think that every no I said in scam hold music, I took
yeah.
me twice as long as every yes because I had to be like, and I didn't want to hurt feelings. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I didn't
exactly.
want
Yeah,
someone, especially with Zodiac, it's such a this and then this and then this, and with
yeah,
this one, I had to be like, I don't want this. This is
yeah.
wrong.
Mhm.
Like with Lisa, I sent a script back and went, this is close, but we need it different. Like
Exactly. Yeah.
that happened, and that has never happened
Right.
in Yonko. And I think that's one of the things that made it so scary. And the end process is really cool. I love how it is,
Yeah.
but it is it's done, and I'm glad it's done because it was stressful. Okay,
It
that's
was, but I am really happy with it. And just real quick before we
yeah,
go,
I'm happy, but I'm
um, oh yeah, yeah, and just real quick, we mentioned the deadline of October 31st, and we had sort of it wasn't entirely like a random deadline. We were looking for some symbolism like for October 31st, but and this possibly just be me retroactively sort of justifying it, but honestly, I think releasing it on Black Friday makes a lot more sense.
yeah, it does because someone wanted to release it on Thanksgiving, and I said no.
Yes. Yeah,
Release
and
it
that was another
on
decision.
Thanksgiving.
Like
I'm like, dude, Black Friday is staring us in the face. We
I
have to do
know.
it today.
And I was so glad, like I was like, it just clicked. It was like, oh my God, of course, that's perfect. I mean,
Dude, I'll be honest. The second I saw Black Friday coming and I saw how both of them were like ending, especially because the way Zodiac is named and because of how
yeah.
important when it comes out is, and like this is Yonka's Black Friday. I'm like, this is very exciting. Like,
And
like
it was like, so it was honestly like, I think I think kind of worked out really for the best, because like we had the symbolism that we wanted for October 31st, but honestly, like I think Black Friday is a lot better. I think it's a lot better.
We dumb lucked into one
Yeah,
of my
we
favorite.
did.
Like when we're gonna put a whole thing out, and I'll be honest, whatever we put in the back will be about the Black Friday release. Like that
Yeah,
is all.
exactly.
That is suddenly the whole thing has a whole different meaning that we meant the whole time while making it. When I made it, actually, you know what? Turn the recording off. I want to tell you where it came from. Did I ever tell you where the name came from?
You want me to stop recording?
Yeah, I'll tell you where the name came from if you stop recording.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye.